thank you everybody that came to this meeting tonight. And if you're watching this on a recording, please let us know if you have questions. It will be available probably within a day after we get this meeting done. My name is Kathy Moore. I'm your host for tonight. My co-host is Jason Wald. He is also one of the panelists. I'm actually doing this program. Some of the panelists already know as part of my first Pathways DTM. So I'm kind of excited about that. I've chaired many panels over the 30 years I've been doing workshops and things like that. But this is the first one that I'm getting to do for this DTM program. So I'm very excited about that. I'm excited to see all the people that have joined us. The way this is going to work, I'm going to introduce the panelists one at a time, and I'm going to have them take about a minute and tell you what club they're with, how long they've been at Toastmasters, but also what their experience is with hybrid meetings. And I'll start by saying, my name is Kathy Moore. I'm with the Top Notch Trainers Toastmasters. It's an advanced training club here in San Antonio. We meet once a month for 3 hours. It's the first Sunday of the month. We actually started as a hybrid club in January last year because our goal was to bring in the top trainers from all over the district who wanted to be in our club. And my two techies that are on this call are Jason Wald and Pebby Garner, and they're going to share what our setup is like and tell you a little bit about what we do at that club. So the next person I want to have speak is the person that's traveled the farthest, even though he's still sitting in his chair at home. James Falcon, please share a little bit about who you are and what you know about hybrid meetings.
Thank you. Well, I've been a member for almost too many years. My home club in Western Canada is on an island of only 10,000 people. It's considered Canada's Hawaii. It's like cool temperate version of Hawaii, and actually has Hawaiian connections with Hawaiian people that came over and got free land from the Hudson's Bay Company back over 100 years ago. Salt Spring Toastmasters Club has been around since about 2004. I joined in, I think, in 2005. So that's a number of years that I've been a Toastmaster. Technically, I mean, I'm not a charter member, but had I been there a few months earlier, I would have been a charter member of the club. And two of our members, one almost 90, are still alive of our charter members that are still active in the club. So this club has been around for many years. And then in 2019, in the spring, I started an online thing. I thought it was important. We were losing our members for different reasons, the island demographics. So I ended up focusing on this online group. So we were meeting physically and online on another day. And then of course, then COVID happened and our numbers went up. We went from an average of 9 people per meeting to now 25 people per meeting. And it also helped save the club. Some people thought it was prescient that I was getting into this way even before COVID. The fall before COVID, I actually did do a test hybrid meeting, but you know, unless you have people on the online side, it's not really a hybrid meeting. And we officially went hybrid, the Monday meeting part of the club, last end of July. We had our first hybrid meeting where we actually had people on both sides, and we kept going until November. And then of course, in the fall, I came over to Texas, and one of the clubs that I was a member of was business professionals. And I was so happy to be there for their start of their beta meetings, hybrid. In Texas, I am presently a member of Texas Talker. I've been a member of them for a number of years before COVID. And before that, I was an honorary member of many clubs, including them. So yeah, this whole hybrid thing was actually part of my vision. I thought I want Toastmasters International to be truly international so that you can have people coming, guest speakers from all around the world. Now, some clubs will be, you know, kind of like there'll be some clubs in the world that probably will be more like, oh, we're just happy with our own little niche. But there are other clubs that will want to reach out.
Yeah.
And that's what I think is so important. I think it's important to have that versatility. And that's what I've been trying to do. And I would say that right up until the end of November, we did our 8th meeting before the lockdown. And I was just getting my mind around certain technical issues. And I thought, oh, I can't do the 9th meeting where I can test my theory. So that's where I'm at now. We're about to do our 9th meeting, but we're doing it outside next week. I wanted to be inside ideally because I want to test some ideas. And I've had as many as 3 cameras operating at the same time, but only 1 microphone because of the issues with sound is the biggest problem for me.
Okay, I'm going to stop you there.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for stopping me.
We're going to get into the technicalities and how things work as we go. Right now, I just want everybody that's a panelist to introduce themselves. So Sean, I know he's already stole some of your thunder, but go ahead and tell us a little bit about what's going on with your club.
No worries, no worries. Thank you, Kathy, for inviting me here. I'm going to be the example of what you don't want to look like on a Zoom meeting. I'm too dark, right? All right. I started with Toastmasters in 2007. I started with Broadway Bank. And then I stopped for a little while because I was too busy. And then I ended up at BNP with an old Broadway banker bringing me back in the mix. And I like IT. I do IT. They actually pay me pretty well to do IT. And I'm glad to be here with you tonight to talk about a very important subject. I'm very passionate. James is probably more passionate, but I am very passionate as well.
James is pretty passionate, but he is Canadian. Okay, I'm going to talk to my club members. Jason, tell us your background because you're an IT guy too.
Well, yeah, Sean, I do some IT work myself, except mine's a little bit different. I fix the customer's IT problems, which can range from anything. So my experience with Zoom calls and hybrid meetings goes all the way back to the first speech contests that we tried to do online our first time around. I do agree with James that multiple camera angles are wonderful, but yeah, the strongest part, that darn audio and the reflection of the audio, which I'm sure we'll get into later. But I'm currently working with 3 clubs. One of our clubs is fully hybrid. We're working on the other 2 to get them up and in a hybrid mode as well, so we can keep those members that just can't come to a club meeting on a regular basis.
Thank you. And Pebby's our other club member from TNT. She's also an IT guru. Tell us, Pebby.
I'm Pebby Garner. I've been in IT essentially as an accident for over 20 years. And we started, like Kathy said, we started TNT. Actually, TNT moved to hybrid because TNT was on the verge of closing. And I had gone to the trio and said, I'm sorry, but TNT is, we don't have enough members, we're failing. And Kathy came in like a breath of fresh air and said, no, we are not closing, we're going hybrid. And it's like, fine, good, let's go. Yeah. And so, but we'll get into the setup where we're at there. But I am also a member of 2 other clubs, Sunday Speakers and Talk of the Tower. And I'm sure that once we are able to start back meeting in person, we're also going to be hybrid for those 2 clubs as well.
Excellent. Now, she's not technically a panelist, but she just had her first hybrid meeting at a university. So I'm going to ask Nancy Graves, our area director in Corpus Christi, to tell us how that went.
Hi, I'm Nancy. Like she said, in Corpus Christi, we just started a hybrid meeting of a combination of the Aqua Vitae and High Noon Club, and it's at Del Mar College Center for Economic Development, which has a camera system that we can talk about when we get to the technical part. I have most of my hybrid experience, though, from church. I teach kindergarten to 2nd grade Sunday school hybrid with 1 or 2 little ones in the room. And 3 to 5 little ones on Zoom, which has been a challenge doing crafts and everything. But what we have figured out, and I think it's really important, we do just have one audio on in the room, but it really works nicely for everybody to have their own device so that the people who are home on Zoom can see everybody's faces. And if we have 4 people in the room, we have 4 devices. And that has worked for Sunday school, and I hope soon we don't have to do that anymore.
Take a minute and tell about the system, the camera and all that, because I thought that was so cool. That
Yes,
the
at Del
college
Mar
had.
College, where we're having the Toastmasters meetings, it's almost like, it's at noon tomorrow if y'all want to see, but the camera system, it's a big meeting room with classroom chairs, you know, desks. And then there's a big screen behind the speaker, and up there we put the Zoom screen because there's a camera on a computer off to the side. So that's signed into Zoom. And so up there, everybody can see on a big screen, all the Zoom people. What's really cool about the room though, is that in the back of the room, there's a camera system that uses the microphone and automatically zooms in to the speaker, whoever's speaking, and then it zooms back out. So when it's working right, you feel like you're in Star Wars or something. And that's really cool. Now, it wasn't always working right. It got really distracting when it wasn't finding you. I'm like, I'm over here, and the camera's over there at the blank wall. So one of the Toastmasters who knew the room had like a joystick, and she could zoom the camera in and out. So it wasn't just a static picture of the room from one camera. The camera would zoom in, get close when the person was speaking, and then zoom out to show the walking and all that stuff, the clapping.
Thank you, ma'am. So before we get into like the discussion with the panelists, I want to share a short video because it's very good quality. If any of you read the online magazine this past month from TI, I believe one of his video, he was mentioned in there as one of the experts. This is from Marcus Sapala. He's in Switzerland. He has a whole list of videos, specific hybrid meeting topics. And I just want you to see him so you know how to find his other stuff, because it's very good. He's very personable, and it's going to take about 8 minutes. So you may jot down questions as you go for our panelists, and then they're going to have their own ideas of, you know, how to do things. So any questions before I show the video? Plus I have to go give my dog a treat because he's driving me crazy. Everybody ready? Got your popcorn? Awesome. Let me go zoom into my, Bruce Garrett is on this call. He is an expert at showing videos, so I hope I don't embarrass him, because I tested it a couple of times before this meeting and it worked. So hopefully it will again. All right. This was just like a basic to get everybody started about the main things you need to have. And so for those of you that are looking to start hybrid, get your questions ready and we'll give them to the panelists. Jackie, you got one?
Yeah, I just wanted to, how can we get that video in? I mean, can you email that out, or do we just look?
Can one of my helpers put that in the chat?
Yeah, that would be useful.
Thanks.
I must-
That was a good video. I'd like to look at that again.
And he's like that in everyone. He speaks very clearly. He's personable. He does stand-up comedy too, so I guess that's part of it. But let me see if I can. Here you go.
I must have watched a different one that was in your email from a month ago or so. I watched the one where he talked about the microphone thing. and the
Longer, was it a
yeah, the
longer
longer one, the longer
Yeah.
one. And that was
Yeah.
very,
Yeah, I wanted to, I like that one a lot, but I wanted to give more time to the local experts. So I just went through, I watched several of them and picked a shorter one that I thought gave a good basic understanding. But he's got really good stuff. So, and I'm hoping that this will inspire our local guys and gals to develop some of their own. Hey, because you can do
What was his name, please? What's his name?
It's Marcus
Oh, Marcus.
with a K, Seppala, Seppala. And I did put that link to that one. If you get that one, you're going to get all of it.
Okay, thanks.
So you saw the question, the parts that he said were important, having the right audio, having the right video. Does someone have a specific question, or would you just like the panelists to talk on one of those topics? Because now is the time when we'll get into the technical part. But does anybody who hasn't done one yet want to ask a specific question?
I do. The Zoom camera that zooms in on the person talking, could somebody offer where you can get them and how much are they?
Oh, you're talking about the one that Nancy was using at the university in Corpus? You techie guys, those are probably pretty expensive, right?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know because it's in the room. That's why we're using that room. I don't.
Well,
but
for
somebody else might.
specifics, if you're looking for a business style camera that focuses on the person talking, I've seen the last one that I saw that was a reasonable price. We're talking about $700 to $900, and that's to have it patch into Zoom. When you talk, the camera uses a special set of mirrors that changes the way the lens works, and it focuses on the area that's receiving the noise. And a more simple solution is to go get an external webcam that you can get like Logitech or whatever a third-party brand is between 50 and 150 bucks. Put it on a little tripod. You can put that thing anywhere.
Thank you.
Will you guys, Pebby and Jason, since I'm familiar with our setup at TNT, explain to the group what our setup is like? And y'all are welcome to visit if you got some time, first Sunday of the month, because we're a fun bunch. It's Pebby's church, so she actually has 2 different Toastmasters clubs that meet there, or did before COVID.
Yeah, well, Sunday Speakers is going to start trying to meet again in person at least once a month, and we're going to start trying to do hybrid once a month.
Mm-hmm.
So the setup that we have at church is we do have a computer already for our church services that logs into Zoom. We already have a projector set up to project on the wall that we do for our song lyrics and our sermon slides for the ones who are on Zoom. So we already have a computer that is connected to that wirelessly. So it's easy enough to be able to project the online participants on the wall for at least the in-room ones to be able to see. Now, before this, we did not, well, we were also actually using the laptop that's connected to the projector for the online participants to see the ones who actually were speaking, because we had the laptop at the lectorate.
Mm-hmm.
So they were not actually seeing the ones in the room, and we didn't really have a microphone set up to be able to pick up everybody. But I have just recently bought a microphone that we would be able to put in the middle of the room that has a 20-foot range for them to be able to pick up sound from the room. And then I also have bought a tablet that we can point to the room for them to be able to see the participants in the room as well. And now I have also bought a ring light because of how our stage is, without having to turn the stage lights on. Sometimes it is where we have to have the lectern is a little bit dark for the people to be there at the lectern, and so it comes out dark on Zoom. So now I've bought a ring light so we can set it up for that. So I don't have to turn on the big stage lights, because I'm also kind of scared of those. I'm scared of our soundboard, and I'm scared of the stage lights. So it's just, it's like, okay, no, I am not touching our soundboard. Our sound guys get very touchy about our soundboard. So it's like, no. I have not learned it yet. So I stick with the projection computer, and that's it. So,
what size is that screen that we have behind our heads? Is it like 52-inch or 48-inch or something?
I don't know, because it's the wall. I could probably measure it, but it's
like having a big screen TV.
Yeah, exactly.
Up high.
Yeah, it's probably, I would say it's at least 6 feet. It's probably at least 6 feet.
Jason, do you want to add anything to like what you have gone
Absolutely.
so far when we were still going hybrid?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. One of the things too, and I don't know if Pebby, if this is a part of the church, is that when you create a screen like that, it's not really a screen that pulls down. It's actually a part of the wall. There's a paint you can get for that will mimic a movie screen, as if you pull down a projector screen. And that'll make it easier for people to see. You don't get the strange glare off the wall from people randomly getting the wall dirty and things like that.
Yeah, more than likely that's what they did.
I think that's what's up there. That's what really allows it to work really well. For other setups, we had one computer for the Toastmaster and whoever was ever at the lectern speaking. Another one I've set up in the past is if I have an evaluator or someone who's talking off to the side, like maybe if we're doing a table topics, I'll just set up an iPad right there, put it on a tripod, and then I have with what they were telling us, having another account logged into Zoom as the same thing. That person can talk right there and come up. One of the problems that comes up with this, and this is where an area mic with the 20-foot range or so takes care of, is when you have more than one microphone on in a location, they tend to pick each other up and then they ring. And everybody's heard that wonderful feedback through a speaker when a microphone picks up on the speaker or another microphone. The nice part is, as the web host or the host of the Zoom meeting, you can actually turn that off really fast if you're paying attention and keep it kind of under control. So one of the biggest successes you'll have is if you have a dedicated person to managing that sound control in the meeting. Not necessarily the video will move around as the people will talk. You just have to make sure that that sound is not going to echo and cause interference. And then depending on how your setup works, you can bring it all down and then take it out to a park if you have power and enough Wi-Fi signal out there or cellular signal, which would make a great meeting location. It's just a matter of, okay, can I get that projector up? Will they actually be able to see people if it's too bright? Maybe we wait for it to be a little bit dusk and then they can really see people. But it gives you that freedom to take that meeting wherever you want.
Yeah, I thought that was cool that you guys were talking about doing those meetings outside. So how about James and Sean, you want to share some of your setups and the technology?
Want to go first, Sean? I think I used up all my time for my
No,
intro.
We have plenty of time.
No, there's no.
So I would just stress that, these are all cool setups. And if you have a big picture and stuff like that, or a TV you can connect to, that's all fine and good. But for the most of us, the clubs that haven't been meeting from time to time, keep it simple, right? You can just use a phone or a tablet on the lectern and get that speaker in, right? I will tell you that it's very distracting for the speaker to have all those little squares on the screen. They'll lose themselves in it, and they will try to look at it. So I would encourage them not having a big screen in front of them to see all the other people and their shiny faces, because it will take away from their presentation. I will also tell you that the way, if you have folks and you encourage them to get away from the lectern, you need to consider that for your camera. So if you're going to put a laptop on your lectern or a tablet, you need to consider what space they have to work with for the stage.
Yeah.
We have a lot of folks in our club that we've told them over and over, you need to get away from the lectern. That doesn't work in this setup.
True.
Right? Or they try to do their speeches sitting down. So you need to be considerate of the fact that they need to be standing and be as natural as possible when they're speaking. There is the truth of one mic to rule them all. One mic in the room, period. I don't care what size your club is. I would also encourage that everyone bring their own device with no audio, period. Use it for video only, okay? Don't even connect. If you're using Zoom, do not even connect at all to your audio unless, like, we have some members in our club that are audibly impaired, and they need to wear headphones and use their headphones full time, because if there's any speakers and another microphone, that's going to be a problem. So don't do that. The second camera, to me, in the beginning in your hybrid meeting, is a luxury. For the online folks to be able to see the rest of the room, yes, I agree that that's one of the quadrants, but in my opinion, it's the least important quadrant. The audio is more important. You can hear someone speaking, and as an evaluator, you would be able to evaluate them. And for everyone that is in the room live, they need to go to the lectern. It'd be nice. It is a luxury to have a place for an evaluator to go and to have that second camera, but you're asking for trouble unless you have enough people to, for every camera you have, you need to have somebody controlling it and watching it
That's
and
what we have at
seeing it,
TNT.
seeing what, right? So, and if you have the luxury to have enough members to do that, do it. If you don't, one camera, one audio, and you're gonna have to get comfortable with the fact that you're not gonna be able to see everybody that's at the club. Now, I will tell you the best part about BNP is that we've been able to retain probably a handful of members that have literally moved away from San Antonio. We got them in Galveston and some other places, and now they are back in our club because they no longer have to travel. I mean, forget the immediate need to do this, but ongoing, to James' point earlier in his introduction, we want people around the world coming to our club. If we're going to be a world-class club, we literally want anybody to be able to join. So hybrid is the future. We should have done this many years ago. And if there is a silver lining to what we've done with this pandemic, is that it's forced us to press our technology.
Mm-hmm.
Start simple, do it one camera first, master that camera, then move to the next camera, and just build and build and build. And we're here to help you. I mean, just reach out to me.
By a show of hands, and hopefully everybody knows how to find the raise my hand, how many on this call have not started hybrid meetings yet? And that's why you came to this. Okay, cool. Excellent. So now is your time. If you heard Sean talk about starting simple, you start with the basics, and then as you go, you can add on to stuff. Are there any specific questions? Because I'm going to turn James loose in a minute.
Oh.
Does
Go ahead,
anybody,
Sean.
Just one quick question. I'm worried about, the single camera, setting the laptop up on the lectern. You guys mentioned that the volume off the laptop may not be enough to fill the room. So it's almost saying we have to have a Bluetooth speaker or something.
Well, there's two things about that. First, let's talk about the microphone. The microphone on a standard laptop is designed to pick up the user within so many feet of the laptop, like 1 to 2 feet. It's not designed to have a full room. That's problem number one. The second part is the laptop video is great for that single speaker looking directly at the laptop. If that's your Toastmaster, the person running your meeting, that might be okay. Just depends on your first time setup or how really you want to get into this. But if you're using that for a room, it may not cover enough vision, because after so many feet, a lot of laptop webcams are designed to fuzz out the background so that you don't see what's going on behind. It just depends on your particular type of equipment.
So if everybody in the room's got a bunch of computers, I mean, we're hearing that the audio ought to be turned off. So you don't want their speakers on, because I guess the different processor speeds are going to make it jumbled, right?
Correct. You
Okay.
only want one inbound audio and one outbound audio so that it can be kept in control. It's those extra audios and stuff that interfere with each other and cause interference noise.
Okay, thank you.
Yes,
Spot
Jay.
on. And I'll tell you, from a laptop, I have an old MacBook that we're using on our lectern. If you get one of these Logitechs, and I can send you the link for it. I mean, for like $50 to $75.
Mm-hmm.
The microphones are much better than even on the MacBooks and all the other kind of laptop you may be able to bring to the game. And they're very good, but do not sacrifice the speakers volume for the room. Don't try to put a microphone in the middle of the room, because no one will be able to hear the speaker online.
So where does that microphone get plugged into? Is it plugged into the main PC on the lectern?
It depends on, of course, this goes back to depending on your setup, but the way we've run it at TNT is the primary logged in device, the host of the meeting, usually has the microphone attached to the host. So for the area microphone, the host is going to have that.
That's the desktop in the back of the room, right? Is that what you're talking about? The one in Pebby's little room?
No, it's usually been the one on the lectern.
Oh,
It's fine,
okay. So
too.
okay. The stage.
Yeah, it connects by a USB. And the external mic connects by a USB.
Okay, so if there's one computer on the lectern and the microphone is near there, so anybody on that stage near that lectern will be heard, that microphone gets plugged into the, like you said, the main logged in Zoom person, which I guess is the computer on the lectern.
Right, but let me clarify that for a minute.
Okay.
Sean is absolutely right. Don't sacrifice the speaker for the room.
Okay.
With the microphone that we're using is an area microphone. It's designed to pick up things in 360 degrees, where a regular laptop microphone is not. So it's microphones on cameras like the Logitech. Those aren't always 360 degree microphones. They're usually straight in front. Usually it's like a 30-degree cone. Anything about outside that cone is going to be garbled, isn't going to pick it up. You just have to, you got to basically play with it and say, okay, I can stand 10 feet away. Can I be heard normally talking at a normal voice? Odds are with the Logitech microphone, if it's a really good one, maybe. With our area microphone that's designed to pick that up, you will be heard quite clearly.
Each meeting room has its own acoustics too,
Yeah,
which sometimes helps or doesn't help.
Right. So as Nancy was telling us, her room is filled with this video conferencing equipment. You can bet that video conferencing equipment, when it was installed, the people who put it in based on that room's acoustics. And they found the parts where it's going to reflect badly, and they took that into account when they put things in.
Sort of. They have a little, the microphone is like a little, looks like a charging pad, what you set your iPhone on.
Yep.
So I'm sure that's a 360 microphone because it just
Correct. That's
wire
going to be
coming
an
from the
area
computer.
microphone designed to pick up people within probably 10 feet of the table from where it sits.
Right, maybe that's when it didn't work, when you got too far from the microphone.
Right. It's only
I
made
do
to-
think though that everybody has a device in their pocket almost.
Oh, yeah.
And everybody
Absolutely.
getting on Zoom without the audio, nobody on
Yeah, that's
audio.
a good idea.
It's just, I find it nice to see the people on Zoom when I'm sitting without having to look up there, and then they can see your face, like your reactions, if you're smiling at the
Sure.
speaker. The home people get a better experience when they can see our faces as well, I think.
I agree. And to Sean's point, you don't sacrifice the speaker or his sound or his video for necessarily the audience, because we want that speaker to be the star of the moment.
What other questions do we have?
Uh,
Go
do we
ahead,
have
Tony.
do we have a wireless camera? So we want to cover the whole room, and we don't want the wires going around. So we want to put the laptop on the first table of the audience,
Yeah.
and we want to cover the speaker as well as the audience, and want to put it on one corner. So the wire camera would be in the way for the speaker. Is there any way we can do a wireless camera and then put the laptop at the first table? And
Yes.
one more, the iPad would be at the back of the room to cover the speaker. But to cover all the audience, we need something near the speaker, but not in the way, the cable is not in the way for the speaker.
Okay, so the question is, can I use one computer to basically power two video feeds, one for the speaker and one for someone else, whether it's the audience or an evaluator, doesn't really matter. You want two video feeds, correct?
One video feed, the one at the back of the room, maybe we'll use an iPad or another cell phone. We'll put it on a tripod.
Yep.
But at the front of the audience, we don't want the wire to be in the way. We just want a wireless camera that we can connect to the laptop, so
Okay.
that it's more flexible. It covers more area.
Okay, well, first you would have to find the wireless camera to make sure it's compatible, let's say, with video conferencing software like Zoom. Now, Zoom also has a share screen function. So if your computer that has Zoom on it recognizes two cameras, you can have camera number 1 and you can have camera number 2. Now, the qualification to that is both cameras are not on at the same time. Okay.
Almost better to have another smartphone. That is your
Right.
wireless
If you
camera.
want to make sure those cameras are on all the time for those people, then I would suggest having another machine or an iPad or an iPhone or something that can log into Zoom separately, because you can log in multiple times into the same meeting with the same Zoom account and have different pictures from different devices.
Yeah, I've done up to 4 cameras.
Okay.
Jason, Hodish and I are kind of working together for our club to get this equipment. And what I'd like to do, I think, is Kathy, I'll just probably send this to you and Jason. It's just a PowerPoint, kind of a block diagram we did for our conference room where we meet. I'd like to get feedback from you guys on kind of a couple of different scenario layouts that we've got. Try not to make it too complicated, but as Sean said, trying to keep it simple as we start. Right. But I think what Hodish is saying is we will have those 2 computers or iPad, 2 different controls for 2 different cameras logged into the Zoom session, but looking at it from 2 different directions.
Yeah, it can be done.
This is going to be for the New Braunfels Club?
Yep.
Okay.
And we still have about 8 minutes, but you panelists, if you don't mind getting emails from some of our members with troubleshooting questions, would you please put your email address in the chat so they can reach out to you? Or visit their meetings would be a great way to see how they're doing things too. I don't know that anybody wants to go to Western Canada, but
You'd be online. You'd be on the online side.
Yeah, if you want to just see the online side, then that'll work.
Also, I can send you, I can send anybody who's interested my archive. I have archived our past 8 meetings, which is valuable because as you watch them, you see how we evolved. And it's called trial and error. You're not going to succeed if you don't make mistakes. And
Exactly.
if you're not making mistakes, then you're doing something wrong.
You're not doing enough.
You're not doing enough. Yeah. I just wanted to say so many great comments from the rest of the panel. And one of the things was for example, you talked about the camera. This is my rear view. This is actually it captures the towards the big screen and the audience from behind. So this is actually my rear room or opposite room view camera. That's what I call it. You notice I have something hanging here. This came with the armor that's actually normally on the phone, which allows you to hook your thing in there and for waterproofing and all that. But you'll notice that anything that plugs into the phone's outlet, it's not just the speaker part, the microphone circuitry that's actually part of that. This is physically canceling it out. And there is an issue with, it was mentioned before how, yeah, you could bring your device and you could turn your volume all the way down, you could mute it. Doesn't work that way on an iPhone or an iPad, especially. I've actually been in 2 different meetings at the same time. And actually, it was the same meeting at the same time. And what happened was the iPad, I turned the volume all the way down. I even muted it. The mic was live. The sound was coming right through. So I had to plug this in. So you have to defeat it. The reason why this is happening is because of the way the Zoom software works. It's the sound card. And that's why usually when you have your main account on your main laptop and you've got the speaker sound coming from that, and if that's where your main microphone is, Zoom, you'll notice that when you're talking right now, like right now I'm plugged in on here, but if I unplug this and I'm talking to you guys out loud, that microphone can hear me talking to you, can hear your voice, and see Zoom is compensating for that. So that's another reason why you don't want to be listening to the meeting on earphones when you're at the meeting, because there's almost a 1-second time delay, because again, it's a sound card issue. Right now, there's one thing in that video that I slightly disagree with that Mark mentioned, and that was about the Bluetooth speakers, because we tried that. We tried Bluetooth and it didn't work at Business Professionals. The best deal was you get that splitter that goes into the thing where you get the white and the red, and then you hook that up to the big analog speakers. But we tried Bluetooth and it didn't work for us because it was bypassing the sound card, so Zoom couldn't, figure it out. And also, I even tried doing a microphone on an iPad and just using my main computer to actually do the gallery view on the big screen and all that in the library room on the big screen. And what happened is by doing that, it didn't work either, because again, the Zoom is relying on the whole system being contained, the audio, it all has to be integrated in one machine. So again, you're back to one microphone. Again, when you're going to start these hybrid meetings, again, it's so true what everybody said. One laptop, one camera, one microphone. Keep it simple. And when you guys start to really get comfortable with it, you'll be able to add things on. It really helps to have geeks in the club. And if you only have one person, like I spent 45 minutes setting up the hybrid meeting at the library. I want to get there early just so I can have peace and quiet. Because when people start coming in, it's like, please talk to them, greeter, because I'm trying to hook things up. And in our library room, we actually have a big screen and a projector on the ceiling. And how that works is there's actually a HDMI cable. I plugged it into the laptop. The gallery view goes up on the big screen. So everybody in the room, and normally in the old days, we used to have like a horseshoe, but because of COVID, it ends up looking more like you're in a little theater. So when you're sitting down as a member, you're seeing the gallery view and the lectern in front of you. What I decided to do is in the future, in our 9th meeting, we're going to use the laptop as the lectern camera. So that, because one thing people had a problem with when they're standing at lectern, they want to see the gallery view, but they don't want to be turning around looking up at the gallery view behind them that the audience is looking at. So by having your lectern, I call it the lectern and gallery view, by your laptop, the main thing being your gallery view, I can actually talk to the room and I can see the gallery. And I move it to the side a bit so I can still have eye contact with everybody. because that is the priority. If you're at the lectern, that microphone is the most important. If somebody's talking in the room there, you'll have to live with that. That could become an issue. What I found happens, and I mentioned this at the last Texas Talkers meeting, was if you're talking and you know where the camera is looking at you, that there's a microphone there too. And if you turn your head away while you're talking, you're getting out of that cone. So your audio will drop by 20%. So you have to remember, it's called, you know how we always talk about eye contact? You need mic contact. You have to be talking to the microphone and the camera at the same time. So that's really important. And what else can I say?
Raymond has a question. I don't
Okay.
know, has anybody
Sure.
answered that question, Raymond? The USB to the iPhone was not connected to anything. Is that your question? Can you clarify that?
What kind of
USB.
iPhone is it?
Oh, what type of iPhone?
Well, for Raymond,
Oh, for Raymond.
because
And that cable coming out of your phone, what was that cable coming?
That's what he's asking about. It wasn't connected to anything.
Yeah, I'm gonna,
Right.
yeah, it's not connected to anything because you know what? You can even plug your normal microphone stereo earphones, like you know how the iPhone comes with earphones. You can plug that in there and just put it on the table. Don't put your ears anywhere near this, or you're going to be in a twilight zone thing where it's like a 1 second delay. It's very confusing. So what this is, when I unplug this, you'll see this is not a normal stereotype thing. This includes the microphone technology. It's like a 4-stage rocket. So that is actually what you need, because you have to defeat the microphone and the speaker issue. So that, because like I said, if I don't have that in here and I've got 3 cameras going, there'll be echoes and everything because it doesn't know what the hell's going on. So by plugging this in, you physically defeat it. You're faking it.
No,
The other thing is just don't join with audio. So when you join Zoom, it says, do you want to join the Zoom meeting? Yes. Do you want video? Yes. Do you want audio? Say no or cancel or whatever that choice is.
If you
So they
say
can-
no, I think you're just muting. I think you're just
No,
muting.
it's not. If you say no or cancel, whatever the third choice is, then there's no audio. And on the bottom, instead of, you know, where it has the microphone and the little camera on the bottom of your Zoom screen where you mute yourself,
Yeah.
down there, it'll say join audio. Instead of mute, it'll say join audio. If you're not on the audio, that down there by the mute will say join audio because you're totally not in. That's what you need people to
I
say
haven't
no
tried that yet.
to the
I-
audio choice. That'll solve your problem of what you're doing there with your
that's true.
plug.
Yeah.
You just
That I
say
haven't
no
tried yet.
audio when you join on
I wanna-
everything except for one.
I want to take a minute and let everybody know that we are out of time, but it seems like this is a pretty hot topic. So if the panelists don't mind staying, and if anybody still has questions,
I could stay a little bit longer, but maybe we should do this once a month. Because
I think we're definitely going to be doing another episode. What question did you have, Jackie?
yeah, I have a newer iPhone. I'm trying to get it into view here, and it does not have the mic attachment anymore.
Correct.
New
Yeah.
New iPhones.
iPhones got rid of that little mic attachment.
Yes, they did.
So it's like, now what do you do?
Well, again, you can go with Nancy's thing to not join with audio.
Yeah.
That's the software version to fix that. Plus, Apple also makes, for a tiny small price for an Apple product, they do make a USB-C and a lightning cable that will convert that port in the bottom to an
Ooh.
earphone jack mic
Yeah.
jack.
Oh, that's cool. Okay.
Yeah.
I think it costs $7. It'd go iPhone to
Yeah, it's USB-C or lightning to headphone jack.
right.
Okay.
Will do the same thing.
Can I see a show of hands? How many people feel like we need to have another episode of hybrid meetings? My suggestion, being the school teacher that I am, I would like you guys that have not done a hybrid meeting yet to take these suggestions that you've gotten from the experts and try it. And that way, when we come back for another episode, you'll have more questions. How
Now
does
you
that
do
sound?
you do have a conference coming up, and that's going to be time consuming. So maybe after the conference and everything is over, maybe in the 2 weeks after that or a month after that, and then do it every month.
James, you don't even know. I tend to have the continuing education classes booked up a month in advance anyway, so we don't have any open slots left this month. So you're
Okay.
right, it will be in June, but we will
Okay.
definitely set up another time, and that will give everybody time to try it. You got something, Sean?
Yeah, just a couple of pro tips, and this is gonna just hit you in the face when you do your first hybrid meeting. Ballots, your ballot candidate is gonna feel like an orphan on an island somewhere else. You need to talk through that, right? So the people in the room can still use paper, not a problem. But chat is your friend in Zoom for anyone that is not. And I will guarantee you, I will bet you $1 American right now, your people that are online will forget about chat, they won't vote, and you'll have to get on to them about it. So first pro tip, don't forget ballots. Ballots are still important.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too, is once you really get rolling with this, you're probably going to have one person at the meeting there that is kind of like in between, like they're actually following it, maybe not with the headphones on because of the confusion, but they're following what they see. They're monitoring the chat. I could see you having a chat master. In our online meetings, we have a chat master.
Yeah.
And also you need to have someone, you need to have a, oh, what are you going to say, Sean?
Oh, just my second pro tip, have a buddy timer. Because if your timer's online and your speaker can't see him,
Yeah.
you need somebody in the room, you need somebody online, and they need to be coordinated showing the speaker when they're finished. Because
That's a good
I've
point.
had more complaints in business and professional, because if you wouldn't believe it, we have a hard time stop talking in my club.
What?
Right? We disqualified more members per capita in the last year because of this new system, and they want to blame the system. So
Yeah.
second pro
Because
tip,
they're
have
DTM.
a time.
Well, yeah, so you definitely want to have like a sergeant at arms or a greeter, a co-host that's on the online side in case your ships separate and go apart. So the meeting could still continue, you know. But when you really get good at it, you can have the evaluator online, the speaker in person, or vice versa. There's all kinds of possibilities of what you can do.
Point. Well, I want everybody to unmute and take a minute, and let's do a round of applause for our wonderful panelists. They did a great job, I think, and I'm pretty picky. So good job, guys and gals. And thank you for volunteering to come do another class. I think it was very educational, and you're right, it is the future. So I'm glad that we had so many people on this call. Reach out to these guys and gals and with your questions, and go forth and practice your hybrid meetings. Thank you for joining us.
Take care. See you soon, y'all.
Bye.
See you. Take care, you guys.